Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Abilities Podcast. I am your host, Nick Earhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. All right, everyone. So today we have SS Coulter. I will stutter on that one every time I think, but that's okay. But she is amazing, and this is going to be a great conversation. I love what she does. Her story is very impactful. So let's get right into it. I'm going to call you Shannon. So, Shannon, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely, Nick. Thank you for having me. I am so excited to be here with you today. We've talked once before, and you are a light. So I was looking forward to getting on here with you today. I am really focused right now on what has happened to our kids because of the excessive use of technology. And so I have a company that I am giving parents of today tools to compete with that technology so we can get back to a play-based childhood, because it is absolutely essential for our kids to have play in order to develop the qualities and the skills that they need to be successful adults and tap into what Nick is showing here is their infinite abilities. So I go back to when this was something that first occurred to me. It was back in 2008, and I am a stepmom. And so back in 2008, I met my stepkids for the first time, and they were 4, 8, and 10. And I was coming in to them. I'm 31 years old at that time. I'm not 31 years old anymore. You can do the math. Back then I was. So, and I came from the childhood of always playing. So, you hear us Generation Xers totally bragging about that. Like, oh, we were out all day, and we kind of give the younger generation a hard time. Well, I tell these kids, thinking I'm super cool, like, go out and play. And they come back, and 5 minutes later, I kid you not, and they said, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know what to do, Miss Shannon. And I'm floored. Like, how do little kids not know what to do? So I, at the time, was thinking that there was something wrong with my husband and his ex-wife, because they must have done something wrong with these 3 children that they don't know how to play. So I'm just like, what is wrong with them? But I had been a communications consultant at the time, and my job was to communicate internally to employees about what their companies were doing. And at that time, I was communicating wellness programs. And so I'm sitting here helping adults develop things like walking more, giving up smoking, things like that. So I'm doing that in my professional life. And so I start going, well, what is wrong with these kids in my personal life that they're not playing? That's kind of a problem too. So I went ahead and I did some research, and my kids were just the same as every other kid. They were all having a really hard time playing. And so the reason behind it was because of technology. And I can sit here and brag on, like, oh, I was playing all the time when I was a kid and you guys are not. Well, my parents didn't have technology to fight with. And so this became something that was very upsetting to me, and something that I was worried about for my kids, because playing is awesome. And I was kind of looking into what's going to happen to them if they don't play. Now, this is back in 2008, as I said. There was no studies on this. That we had no idea what was going to happen with social media. And I ended up leaving corporate America. And I'll just tell this in a nutshell. My husband and I did the huge investor raise, built this company. I wrote all these books. We were going to use books and activities to inspire kids to get off of technology. And we can get back into that later. But what happened was my husband ended up going through a big custody battle. I ended up being a full-time mom, and I had to stop the business back then, because it was either halfway be there with my kids or be a full-time mom. And I got to be a full-time mom. So in the interim, Nick, it's been 17 years now. And everything that I was worried about and more has happened because of overuse of technology. And I just want to point out, like, Nick and I are on technology right now. Like, it's not that I'm against technology. It's the overuse and the inappropriate use of it.
Yeah.
So do you want to ask me any questions, or?
Well, no, I love what you're doing, because, I'm not a parent myself, but I grew up like you. I was outside all the time. I was outside playing. And my best friend and business partner, Kyle, he's got 2 kids. And, they always want the tablet or the TV and things like that. And we've been having them go outside and play more and more. And they're actually outside right now. I can see them through the window.
That's
And
amazing.
now they want to go outside. Where, a year or two ago, they didn't ever want to go outside. They just wanted to sit on the couch on a tablet.
And that is the whole basis behind what I'm doing, is because if you start getting kids playing, they naturally want to play. Kids want to play.
Yeah.
It's just that this technology that they're on, it's designed to be addictive.
Yep. Well.
So, and I'm going to go back now. Like, so this company that I started developing and I'm going to say I put it to bed. Before I used to say it was a failure, and now I've completely changed my mind on that. No, it was a great lesson for me, because now I know what works, what doesn't work. And back then I was new being a mom, and now I've had 17 years of experience raising kids. So I have even more. I have not only empathy, but now I have sympathy for parents and dealing with this, because I had to. But another thing that's happened, like since 2008, which is really interesting, in 2010, it's when the Facebook developed the front-facing camera. So now kids are taking selfies of themselves, and then their Instagram came along, and then there was likes and shares and all that stuff. That actually
Yep.
made this even worse, because Gen Z actually, so those are the people who were born between 1996 and 2010. They were the first generation to go through puberty with smartphones. And the result of it has been pretty damaging to them. They have depression levels that are 140% bigger for girls and 161% worse for boys. So that's awful. So I'm really on a mission here to help right the ship, because I'm actually calling social media, I'm going bold with this, Nick, I'm calling it the cigarettes of the 2020s.
I agree.
Because when and we weren't exactly alive when this happened, but when cigarettes came out, they didn't tell anybody how bad cigarettes were, so everyone was
No.
smoking them. But as soon as they found out how bad they were, they made them, they said you couldn't smoke them if you were I think under 18, and they put them behind counters, right?
Yep.
So I would say today, now that we know, and I can lift some more statistics if you want me to, but now that we know what technology has done to these kids' brains and to their ability to grow up and be healthy adults, I think we have to take it back from them. But I absolutely understand how difficult that is, because as we said, it's addicting. It's meant to be addicting. So there's got to be tools, there's got to be collective action for all of us to do together to make this change.
Yep, I agree. And kids are just like, they don't know any better. So it's our job as adults to guide them to do the right things. And the less they're on technology, because most of the stuff that they're doing, it's mindless activities. It's YouTube, nothing educational.
Right.
It's just random
They're not
stuff.
listening to podcasts, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the more they play and go outside, the more creative they are. And they start to figure out how to do things on their own, which is going to help them throughout their whole life.
Exactly. Absolutely. So you have to actually, successful human development comes from interacting with other people. So if you're sitting there on your phone all the time, you're not interacting with people.
No.
It's really damaging for you. And the other thing that I've noticed is the more kids play, the more kids play on technology, the less they're playing in the real world.
Yep.
So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's not good for you. And I actually heard you give this an analogy or tell the story in another podcast of yours, but it's like, I kind of liken it to drinking as well. So you have a drink and you get less productive because you're not doing the other stuff you could be doing. And the next day you feel terrible. If you have a hangover, that's the same thing with this. The kids are on the technology. They're not doing the play. It takes away their night. And the next day they have anxiety because they've been playing on the cell phone. And I do think that it's just something that we have to monitor, and we can do this. I mean, there's people like Nick and me who grew up without it. I'm sure a lot of your listeners grew up without it, but we have to help people. So with the drinking example, if you are somebody who drank, I used to drink a glass of wine or more every day. And I was like, this is not good for me. So in order to stop that, you don't just stop that activity. You actually have to replace it with something else. And that's what I've developed. It's not like, oh, kids, you just can't be online. You've got to give them a replacement. And that's play. But then what was happening with me and why I started developing this, my kids were asking me like, well, what do we do?
Yep, exactly. I was just gonna say that.
What do we do? What do we do? And I'm, as I keep saying, I was in my early 30s. Now I'm in my 40s. I can only come up with so many activities. I'm not an imagination station,
Yep.
right? I can't. But if you've got kids who have completely atrophied their play muscle, their imagination muscle, and their creativity muscle, they're not coming up with stuff either. So that then they come and they ask me, I eventually get frustrated. And what do? I hand them the tablet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's
So,
easy. And I
because
do
it's
want
easy.
I do want to touch on that for a second. Most parents just give the tablet because it's easier on them. And
Yeah.
what I like about what you're getting into, because I know where this is going, is you're creating something that is helpful for the parents. So then it's not like they have to just give the child a tablet, so they
Right.
leave them alone. The parents can actually give them a
An
activity.
alternative. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and they'll still leave you alone.
So but you'll not have the guilt that you have when you give them the tablet because
Yeah.
you'll know the thing they're doing when they're away from you is actually healthy for them. And
Yep.
that's what I was going for. So when the kids were coming to me and I ran out of ideas, I'd go on Google, and then you have Google spitting hundreds of things at you. You've got Pinterest. And then for
Mm-hmm.
me personally, I'm going on to these sites, and it's okay, but some of these women are like perfect doing the stuff. I'm like, I can't keep up with that, you know?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. So it's like, so what can we do to make this super simple for the parents and that they feel good about it? So what we've done, Nick, I just met with my app developer today, so I'm so excited. But what we're doing is we're coming up with an activity app. We're building it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And what the idea is, so when I was in corporate America, when I did health incentive programs, it was always you do this and you get points. And
Mm-hmm.
people will do anything for points. I joke that like I go to the bank sometimes and and I use my Chase credit card and I get points. I'm like, yeah, well, it's because I spent money. It's like stupid. But like, whoa, I got points. But so what we're doing is we're taking activities. And so if say Nick and Kyle are at home and Nick needs to do his podcast and Kyle's busy, but they want the kids to go outside and the kids are not, they're not budging. They can pull up the activity and they can say, I've got 2 kids. I need a half an hour. Want no materials. And the kids have been sitting around all day. So I want a body activity. And all the activities are mind, heart, or body, because that is what makes a whole human being. So you can pick that. And then this app comes out and says, here's 20 activities, Nick and Kyle, and here's how many points they are. And they're right at your fingertips. You can say if you want no material or low material, super simple things. And it's stuff that we used to do, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
that you're not thinking of it. You're not thinking of sharks and minnows, you know?
Yep.
So you send them out to do that. And what motivates them if they're being kind of little boogers and like, I don't want to do it. Well, you say, well, it's worth 100 points. And so if you go out and do this activity, you're going to get those 100 points and you can come in and cash those points in. And then Nick and Kyle know, you guys know what makes these kids tick. And so
Yeah.
if it's like having a cookie after dinner, you're going to give it to them anyway, but now you're tying it to points.
Yep.
And so
I
that's
like
the
that.
whole idea. That's the whole idea of it. And it's a reinforcement that they go out there and they're having fun. But what I see with it and what I saw with my kids, if you get them out there playing that game, as they rebuild their imagination and creativity and play muscle, they're going to stay out longer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the cool thing about it. So when we had the
Yep.
downward spiral with, with they're not using it and they can't come up with anything, the more activities you give them, the more they're building those muscles, the more they're going to want to be outside. So that's the
Exactly.
idea behind it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can tell you that works because we kind of started doing the same points thing
Yeah.
because, you know, I'm sorry, but kids gotta clean up after themselves
Mhm.
and they gotta go have fun, like you're saying. So we did do a little point system and it was, if they went outside for, an hour a day, they got a point. And
It's awesome.
now they'll go outside for 5, 6 hours a day, you know?
Because I keep saying it, they crave going outside.
Yep.
They absolutely crave it. I have a statistic pulled up here. Let me see if I can find it.
Yep.
Um, it's not a statistic. It's actually like just a fact that I found in my research. So what was interesting and kind of what I was saying when I started this, when I got concerned about this way back in 2008, there wasn't any studies on this. These social media companies came out and put something on us that we had no idea what the implications were. And it was
Mm-hmm.
like a huge experiment that we tried out on our kids. And now it's coming out, like I said, there's horrible statistics about how these kids are doing. And I'm calling them kids. They're like up to 30 years old now. And we need to stop it. So I have this thing. It says studies on young rats, monkey, and humans shows that young mammals want to play and need to play. They come out socially, cognitively, and emotionally impaired when they are deprived of play. So it's if they're longing to do it, they want to do it, and if they don't do it, they're impaired. So that's a huge deal. It is a huge deal. And I always go back to water parks, because if people don't believe me, like, oh, kids want to be on the arcades. No, if you ever go to a water park and you walk into a water park, the kids are in the water park. They're going down the slides. They're in the lazy river. The only time they go into the arcade is at the very end of the day when they're tired.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bingo.
And that's okay. And I am not saying at the end of the day when they're tired, even if you want to make a half an hour on your favorite game, that can be what they're earning the points for. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's the idea behind it.
I think that's just amazing, like incredible. Do you know about when this will be released?
So right now, as of today, I don't know when this podcast will go out, but as of today, right now, when we're talking, it's June 18th. I think that we'll have the prototype of it in about a month. And then I'm going to ask people to come on board and get a free version of it to give me feedback. And I would love your help and Kyle's help, because it will just be a free version. And then you can say, hey, this is working. The kids don't like this. Could you change this? Because what I did the first time is I built a website in a vacuum, and I didn't ask for anybody's feedback. Never a good idea. Never a good idea. Good lesson. But this time I want to build a community. I'd love Nick to say, hey, this is one of our favorite activities, and send it in. Because this is going to this is not a one-on-one thing. This is like an entire culture shift that we're going to have to do here.
Oh, because, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Because if you've got your kids offline and playing offline, but the next door neighbors are not, they're going to come back and be like, well, they don't have to. Well, you know what? First off, too bad, because we're the parents here.
Yep.
But second, like, I keep going back to the cigarette. You would never hand your child a cigarette. And I could go through, I'm sorry, that was my phone. I could go through all these horrible statistics, and people would be just, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that is what's happening. Yeah. The suicide rate, the cutting, all of this stuff, because these kids, first of all, it's what it does to their brain physically, but also emotionally. Yep. Because they're comparing themselves to people all the time.
Oh, that's for sure.
It's horrible.
You see people online, well, they're all using filters.
Yeah.
Like, and kids don't realize that. And then they, like you said, they look down on themselves because they don't look like them. So, you gotta stop.
Yeah, and they're going online and they're like, well, this kid has this kid has that, I don't have that. Or what's popular is this, and then they're doing things they never would have done. So they're getting all this information, they're getting the negative stuff that's coming in the news. They don't need to be exposed to that. We get enough of that as adults. But we're in a different area as adults because our brains are fully functioned. And I would tell you, like, if I get stuck in that stuff sometimes, and I'm pretty good about not getting stuck in it, but if I'm tired, sometimes I'll start scrolling. I don't feel good after.
No.
It's like anything you do too much. If you eat too much, you drink too much, you feel horrible.
You do. Yep.
And so we're like, I'll keep going. You want to give your kid a bottle of wine? No. So I'm happy in the sense that now there's research to back what I'm saying. And if, Nick and I can talk about this real quick, but like, if you don't necessarily believe how good play is for people, for children, I want to run through a scenario. So let's say Nick, what's your favorite thing to do outside? Like a game that you like to play?
A game?
Yeah.
I don't really play games outside.
Well, when you were a kid, like throwing?
Yeah.
We'll just say that. Okay. So let's say he and I are playing ball, and we've come up with these very serious rules just for Nick and Shannon. We're like, so we together have collaborated and negotiated.
Okay.
Yep. So we've done that. And then all of a sudden, let's say Kyle comes up. And are Nick and I going to like stop playing? No. So Kyle is a problem in the sense that he's created this third person, and we've come up with these rules. But instead of looking at it as a problem, Nick and I are going to look at it as a challenge, because we want to keep playing. So there's another thing. We've got problem solving. Now the three of us are going to negotiate. Nick is and I are going to come up with this. Kyle's going to have to follow our rules. One of us
Mm-hmm.
is the leader. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's endless
Yeah, I
and
know.
it's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a good point. So good.
Yeah, so
Uh,
you're developing all these social skills, but you don't even know you're doing it, and
yeah,
so that is why this is so important. It's just yeah,
yeah.
it's so important to grow up kids with these abilities so they can have their infinite abilities.
Haha, love it.
Yeah.
And I'm excited because this will be released like probably right after you release your prototype app. So anybody listening will be able to go and check it out.
Fabulous. That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
it's gonna
Oh,
be
I'm so
awesome.
excited. We're
And
gonna do this together. I know
yeah,
we can do this together.
oh yeah.
This world has changed many other problems before. I heard someone talk about seatbelts. So, you know, people were driving around, none of us wore seatbelts, and then there was all these childhood deaths. And so now there's seatbelts and car seats. And
Yep,
it might inconvenience adults a little bit, but it saves children. So
yep.
as you were saying, like this might be a little inconvenient for you, but actually once you get your kid doing it, like your kids are now outside and having a ball.
Yeah, it becomes easy.
It becomes easy because they want
Yep.
to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, it's forming habits. As
Healthy
you
habit.
know, yeah, healthy
Yeah.
habits. Yeah,
Yeah.
healthy ones. And but habits. The more you do them, the easier it gets. And the same thing for children. The more they go out and play, easier it gets on them, and then they love it.
And then they love it and they have more creativity, they have more
Mm-hmm.
imagination, and they're
Yep.
developing social skills that are going to make them completely better off in society as they get older.
That's for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
And being able to get through things that like for instance, as I said before, my company the first time didn't work out.
Hmm.
But I'm going to make this up, but I had had bad stuff happen on the playground. Like people had
Hmm.
been mean, I'd been rejected. So I build up that, you know, that willpower to keep going.
Yep.
But who knew
Exactly.
I didn't know I was learning that when I was playing.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So it's just, it's something that we really have to do. And I'm so excited to do it together.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Me too. Me too. And how can people reach out to you?
So everything that I'm talking about, you can find on my website, which is sscoulter.com. So I will spell that out. So it's S as in Shannon, S as in Sue, and then COULTER.com. And out there, I have books. So if you want to get your kids started in this, I've got a book series called The Fossa Tales. And that is just fun books that have animal characters and they can give you a full day of play, a full week of play. But you read the story to the kids, there's a plot twist, there's hidden pictures, all sorts of stuff, and then there's some of these activities just to get your kids excited about it. So those
Mhm.
are out there, and then we'll have the app, and there's coloring pages and word searches and all sorts of fun things. Because I'm literally here to help people bring play back to their kids because it's so important.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for what you do.
Well,
And before we wrap this up, I gotta ask you, well, what does my slogan, "Your abilities are infinite," mean to you?
it means to me that every single one of us was put here with a gift and for a
Mhm.
reason. And your light shines so bright. And no matter what happens to you, that gift was put inside to you because it is meant to be used. So never give up on yourself.
Love that. Awesome. And if you could, if you wanted to leave the parents listening one message, what would that be?
Absolutely. We can do this together. It might
Mhm.
sound like it's going to be hard, but I want you to have peace. And so, what this will give you is peace knowing what your kids are doing while you're getting peace because they're leaving you alone. So,
Yep,
it might be hard in the beginning, but it's going to end up being awesome.
that's for sure. That's for
Yeah.
sure. All right, Sharon, thank you again. This was really incredible, and you are going to help so many parents and even more children. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me in the Nick Your Heart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors, so let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone, remember your abilities are infinite.